Do you know what happened to the farm from the second season of The Walking Dead? An extremely iconic place from this season that was practically summed up there. A time that many people have good memories, but that also has disasters. In the future of The Walking Dead, was there any character who returned to the farm? And if I tell you that someone returned there, a lot of people don't remember. But what about the farm set in the real life? How was it to film this, and does it exist to this day? In this video I will answer about all this, and if you wanna know, stay here and let's go. Hello everyone who watching this beautiful channel, my name is João Victor and I'm back to talk about the Walking Dead universe again. Let's go to another video talking about some specific locations, some remarkable places in the story. Let's talk about the farm. This is a very important location from the show. Do you know there's a way for this place to reappear in the story? Let me explain, but first don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion, and also don't forget to subscribe in this channel if you like more contents about the Walking Dead universe. I'd like to thank you for your patience with my English. I'm trying to practice more and more, and there we go. So here's the thing. Those people who followed the channel, especially the recent ones, probably saw my recent video explaining everything about the prison. You guys really liked this video, so I decided to continue. But now let's talk about the farm, this important place from the second season of the main show. The farm is an extremely striking place of The Walking Dead. It was from this time of the farm in the second season that the dramatic loads of The Walking Dead, the most sinister and tense moments of drama began to surface. The crowd already loved the show in the first season, but the second started to attract even more people. Sophia's issue and all that. And of course, just like I did in the video from prison, here I'm also going to divide it into two parts, which is the part about the story of the show, what happened to this place in the story, and the part about the real life, what happened to the set. Starting with the story, we start with this focus, Hershel Greene, precisely the leader of everything, the owner of this farm. What do we know about the farm even before Rick's group arrived? Basically, what Hershel says there in The Walking Dead is that this farm has been owned by his family for 160 years. And when he took over the farm, he reveals that a larger agricultural company tried to buy the farm from him. Yeah, they put the maximum pressure to be able to take the farm, including offering a value that would be 3 times higher than the real price of the farm, a price that is not competitive or anything that to force him to accept and sell the farm. But Hershel did not accept. Hershel also says on The Walking Dead that there was a period, you know, that they were having difficulties growing crops because of the drought. And at that time, the industry also put pressure on him to force him to sell. They offered food there. They left bags of supplies for Hershel there so that he could pick up. But Hershel himself says that he did not give in to this pressure either. He even let the supplies there rot. And eventually, this industry gave up the pressure to buy this farm. Well, that's what we know about this farm before the apocalypse, before the outbreak. We also know that Hershel lived there with his daughters, plus some people connected to the farm who worked there, and that's where the point of when the apocalypse began. Back in The Walking Dead, he says that as soon as the outbreak began, the power to the farm was cut off, but they had their own generators, so they were able to keep up. On top of everything, for supplies and food, they had around 50 head of cattle, 5 wells containing fresh water, and a large stream. That's basically what helped him to live, and that's where the story of the second season of the main show began. At certain point, when Hershel's foreman Otis was hunting in the forest, he went to shot a deer and ended up hitting Carl, who is Rick's son. Rick's group were in the forest there at a time when Carol's daughter Sophia has disappeared. Carl is shot and Rick runs with the boy to ask for help on the farm, and that's where the group's journey in that place begins. That's where the group of Rick, Shane, Laurie, Glenn and company get to know this place. Like, it's really a time when a very strong dramaturgy starts in The Walking Dead. In addition to being in this mission to find food, they also have to convince a person that they have to stay there surviving in this farm. And look, I won't tell the entire story of the second season that everyone knows, but as the main points of the story, we need to mention that we have the revelation of Sophia's death, leadership conflict between Rick and Shane, which results in Rick having to kill Shane because otherwise Shane would kill him, right? And Rick establishing himself as the leader of the group. And then we arrive at the final part of the farm that we saw in The Walking Dead, which is the attack of the zombie herd. We have the threat between Rick and Shane, we have Carl shooting Shane's zombie, and after that a herd of zombies is attracted to the farm. So Rick has a strategy, the idea of setting fire to the Hershel's entire barn to attract the zombies, destroying all that, bringing the idea of the destruction of the farm. After that, what we have is Rick with the characters having to leave the place to try to walk there for a period of time and find a new base, a new place to survive. That's where the farm is left behind in the Walking Dead story. Then we get to see the farm again in several flashbacks in the story, in several episodes, in some seasons. Even in the last season we saw the farm again, but since we know that only the barn was burned, what happened to this place in the story? Like, you need to know that in this current moment of the Walking Dead universe, we are around 12 and 13 years since the apocalypse began. Well, even we saw at the end of the second season what was burned and destroyed. That was the part of the barn, which is a great damage to this farm. But there's nothing in The Walking Dead that proves the complete destruction of the place, including the great symbol of the farm, that is the big mansion, the house there. So yeah, the farm, at the current moment of The Walking Dead, everything indicates that it is still standing. At least the house, at least the iconic part, most of the farm is still standing. It's just abandoned in a region south of Atlanta that no one, or almost no one, has ever been there again. And I say almost no one. Why? Because we have a moment in The Walking Dead that reveals to us that someone passed through there, some character who came back there, and her name is Maggie. Yeah, one of the original residents of that place, who disappears from the story of The Walking Dead in the season 9, right after Rick blows up the bridge, which she is already outraged by several things. She simply gives birth to her son and decides to travel with him alone. She meets Georgie in season 8, who is that mysterious woman who had shown up with the key to I don't know what and went to help her with some community project. That's the reason Maggie left the story. But it's at the end of the season 10 when Maggie returns. After several years away, even her son already has a more grown-up child. That's where she says she went through several places and even returned to the farm, where she found some important belongings of her family, proving that in the recent moment of The Walking Dead, in the most current moments of The Walking Dead's story, the farm still exists. There are characters coming back there. It's a place that someone could go back there. But that's when we take advantage of this story to turn to another part of the video. What about this place in real life? What about the set that they used to film the farm? Does it still exist in real life? Could you still use it to film something more? Well, let's get to the point. Basically, back in 2010, when they realized that The Walking Dead was working and that it would go ahead and renew for season 2, at that point the production realized that it would need a scenario like this to make the adaptation from the comic. And that's when they found this farm that is very close to the studios of the show, where they always filmed The Walking Dead, which was named Raleigh Studios. It was located in Senoia, the south of Georgia. Yeah, this is a real photo, very rare, of fans who managed to pass close to where the farm is and what happened at the time of the filming. As far as we know, the family that lived there was known as the Watleys, the Watley family, and apparently they were a more closed family, which does not like contact very much. Very restricted family, but that the production managed to reach them and offer an extremely considerable and important value for them to allow a filming of almost a year there, several months in this place filming. But that's the point, the family lived in the house, the same house that appeared on The Walking Dead, and that's where comes a curiosity that I have to tell you. At the time they filmed the second season of The Walking Dead, the production negotiated with the family for them to move to the second floor of this house. Yeah, the original family, the Watleys, who owned this house, moved to the second floor so that the production could film everything on the first floor of the house. And that's why we don't have scenes from the second floor of this house in the show. Oh, and there's an interesting point that in this contract there was also the construction of things attached. Just for the show, they built something for the show. For example, the barn itself, you know, that we see in The Walking Dead on fire. It was a barn that didn't have it on the farm. The production itself asked for the permission to build this barn there so that at the end of the season it could burn and destroy it. So they did everything for real, but it wasn't a real family barn. It was the production that built. And so it ended. They finished filming in 2011, but that's where the question lies. I even got Google Maps here for you to have a better idea. This is where The Walking Dead's studio is located. It is still there. This whole region around the studio, all of this is AMC region. Here in fact, it was Hilltop's set that was dismantled. Well, but if we drag a little bit up here, a little bit to the north, you will see here this rural zone of Georgia. This is the exactly location of the farm from the second season of The Walking Dead. Here's the house in a recent satellite photo from 2024, already advancing the point for you that the farm scenario still exists in life. The house is there in the same way, but the big point is the region of the farm has always been very attached to the studios, and through the seasons the production of The Walking Dead has maintained some contracts with this family who owns this land to be able to use some parts of their land for some filming. For example, the Whispers season, which started from season 9 of The Walking Dead, used fields that are from the Watley's farm, which was the farm in season 2, but without showing the house. They got permission to use several fields to film the hordes, several scenes of woods and forests. Also, in the final part of the last season of The Walking Dead, season 11, they used this field on the farm to make the scenes of the zombie herd approaching the Commonwealth, putting the community in the background by CGI, but the field is the same one from the farm. And yeah, as you can see on the map, the place is still there today, even in a very similar way. And then you may wonder, why doesn't anyone go there or take a picture from afar without invading, as people did with Alexandria set, Woodbury, and several other The Walking Dead locations? Well, a lot of people know, but for the newcomers who don't know, it's one of the most extremely iconic locations of The Walking Dead that fans can't get access to it all. Yeah, since the time they filmed back in 2011, only very few photos like this have been took by some fans that risked everything, because the residents of this place, the Watleys, who we don't know if the property is still theirs, as far as we know, they were not friendly. There are many owners of properties that were used for The Walking Dead and various TV shows who are generally friendly, but in this case they are not. They were never friendly, even threatening anyone who tried to enter the place to take a picture. And so this photo I showed you is of someone who risked everything and went inside, or some member of the production that leaked something like that when they used it to film. Yeah, but the big point is that the farm still exists. In the story of The Walking Dead, the farm still exists too, and there is that point that at least the production of The Walking Dead still maintained a good relationship with this family that owns this house. So maybe one day, maybe an episode of Tales of The Walking Dead, the spin-off. Go right in the comments if you'd like to see an episode of some show, some spin-off, some character coming back there. They could even in Dead City, the Negan and Maggie's spin-off, but Maggie in a scene coming back on the farm. It will be amazing to see. Comment there, I want to know your opinion, that the imagination will flow. Leave the like here, it helps me a lot with the promotion, subscribe to the channel, and of course, thank you for watching this video. I'll be back soon, and bye!